Welcome, Angie. This is an amazing little business that you have that is expanding quickly, I notice. And it has a great title. What is the business that you have?
My business is That's My Jam, and I make small batch preserves using as much local produce that I can find on the island. Then I go through BC and then Canada. Unfortunately, mangoes are hard to find in Canada, so some produce I have to import in, but I try to do as much local on the island as I can.
And so That's My Jam began when? When did you start?
Officially as a company, I started it late 2016 at a Christmas market. And I was doing one last year of my daycare, my in-home daycare business. And I was looking to transition into something that would be more supportive of my children growing up and wanting to do extracurricular after school. So I needed something that allowed me to be my own boss.
Yeah.
And was flexible and something that I really like doing.
Well, here we are. You're like joining in with the Cowichan Craft Crawl. Were you on last month? Is this your first time?
Yeah, this is my first time. I was a bit nervous in May, but seeing how well it was run, we actually shopped as patrons at some of the locations in May. So I just jumped right in. I'm very excited about it.
That's great, because normally your business runs through a series of markets.
Yeah, normally in the summer I would be attending about 20 to 24 markets. And this year with COVID, our family just decided to have no markets. And so I've been switched primarily to sales through Facebook and Instagram, and my retail outlets have expanded.
Well, tell us a little bit about your product, because I see all kinds of interesting shapes and colors here.
Yeah, so when you come face-to-face with me at the market or at the crawl, you're going to have a much more variety to choose from, and we can talk about maybe expanding your normal repertoire. So instead of trying a typical blackberry jam, I'm going to get you into the blackberry peach bourbon and experiment a little. But so at markets, I tend to have between 50 and 60 products on my table at any given time.
Wow.
And I'll always have fruit jams, marmalades, pepper jellies and chutneys, and then pickled items as well.
Beautiful.
In my retail locations, I've expanded the jams and pepper jellies to also include some marmalades.
Well, now that you're entering into the Cowichan Craft Crawl, what do you see as your biggest opportunities? Like, you are bringing so much to our local community. We just want to thank you for stepping forward with all of this, because as gifts...
Yeah, lots of... I know some parents will, buy themselves a jar of jam for themselves as a treat, and then have... they'll buy it for their parents and teacher gifts. I was very busy with Mother's Day, Father's Day, and year-end teacher gifts. It was nice to see, even though that schools were closed, teachers were still appreciated.
That's great.
And I see quite a great number of return customers, which is really lovely to see.
Yeah.
And I'm always open to ideas, like some people said, oh, how about an Oregon grape and a salal berry jelly and such. And so I'll play around with that. I'm always experimenting in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And sometimes some of my best sellers have come out of conversations with local people, giving me ideas.
And would it be that you're actually interested in having local farmers or producers or even like backyard fruit people bring excess to you? Are you interested in that?
Yeah, so the regulations with Island Health are very different for retail versus market. And so I run my stock almost like two separate companies. And so for market and face-to-face sales, I can use reclaimed fruit.
Awesome.
It needs to be traceable.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big thing. So if there's any kind of outbreak or illness, we can track it. And so with picking up plums that are falling off of a tree, that's harder to track for Island Health.
Right.
So, but I'm always happy to deal with local farmers. I've got a network of people that I do their yellow plums.
Nice.
Because they don't harvest them. They're just an old tree growing. It's abundant. I'm happy to do it. And I've got a selection of people for crab apples and quince as well in the fall. And my crabapple jelly sales just keep doubling every year. So I'm always on the lookout for more crab apples.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, in these days of COVID-19 and just such an uncertain path ahead, do you have any great wishes? Like, is there a way the community could really support you and your family and your local business?
I think, to be honest, I've seen a lot of support already in that a lot of my customers are now really willing to wait a few days for front door delivery.
Wow.
Or if something's out of stock. In the past, they would have really been like, oh, I really want that jam or that pickle. But now they're like, well, I'll try something else. And instead of buying 1 or 2 jars, they're buying 4 or 6.
Wow.
So I've seen the community already be very supportive with what we're doing. And it's really nice to see that the push to shop local and buy local and keep it local, I think, has increased with COVID. When you shop with me at my stall, the money goes back into my business and to my family.
And to your community,
Exactly.
ultimately.
And then I go out and I shop at the local stores and local crafters.
I think this is the language we're hearing now in terms of trying to do recovery or reopening, that we have to be able to come together as an islands community and be hyper-local. That business, tourism, all those elements are really dependent on us all working together and complementing each other.
And a lot of the stores that I've sold at have reopened very successfully, and so it's nice to see that they're having a successful reopen. And when you buy from one of those stores, you're actually supporting 2 businesses as well as that community, whether it's up in Qualicum or Campbell River or in Mill Bay.
Well, as we're going towards the craft crawl, we want to keep you safe. So, because your food is keeping us safe.
Yes.
So people can come to your home on the craft crawl day.
Yes.
Where would we find That's My Jam?
I live in the Beach Estates in Shawnigan Lake at the corner of Scrimshire and Cudlip. And we'll have it well marked out with arrows, and my kids are very excited to put out balloons and chalk lines. And I'll have everything set up for display only. And then the product will be behind me, and I'll package that up for people. Usually I offer samples, but
not
just with
these
the current
days.
climate, it's just not happening.
Well, you're really a proven business. Like you've been around and you're doing great. And people see the results and the quality of your product already. Can we find you on a website or other ways?
So I'm online under That's My Jam Canada, because it's a very popular name. So getting That's My Jam was tricky. So on social media and website, I'm That's My Jam Canada. And my website is that'smyjamcanada.com.
Great. Well, we hope you go from local to national in a way, because you're one of our good kept secrets that looks like you're growing all the more. And we want to be able to help you do that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all you're doing for the community and for your family, being willing to open up your home and your business to share with the rest of us to go hyper local with as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.